Good evening, friends. Welcome you all on this episode of Rising Bharat. This week has been a week of General Assembly of United Nations. Therefore, I am gonna cover this episode about the international politics. The first question is very important to us. Is United Nation have any relevance in today's scenario? Because one thing is very important, it is just becoming a decoratory organization which is for a namesake. Every years you can see there is a general assembly and nations are coming and they're talking about their concern. The two very important incidents I'm going to talk about. Number one, what United Nations has contributed to this global pandemic. If I ask this question to you, I think so you may not have any answer. On the other hand, one of the body, the WHO, has misleaded the so many nations around the world. They never had a clarity about the origin of the pandemic, number one. Second thing is that they worked as a China's puppet, number two. And number three, basically, they misinform the world. They have no clarity about the treatment. They have no clarity what are the precautions need to be taken. And every day what happens, their spokespersons are coming and giving a misinformation to the people. And that has the reason, one of the body. So therefore, as I say, in this pandemic scenario, the United Nations has failed us, number one. Number two, I want to bring the another thing that's very important. That is the episode of Taliban. Do you think any kind of effects? It becoming only a charitable organization or a helping organization. Okay, they have sent some food packets. They have sent some kind of donations or a relief packages to the people. But what happens? The people who have really facing the challenges on day-to-day life, do they have any role to make the government or the local government to understand how those challenges can be overcome? To one way or other, what happens, like a United Nations has become more or less a quite irrelevant organizations. And most second, very important, this is becoming the puppet of powerful nations, and they operate it the way they want. But they are not ready, or they are not in a situation to create any impact on the powerful nations. You can see that the America, the way they want to do, they are doing. Whenever they feel like they're right or wrong, they take a call. They don't need any approval. Same way, the China, the way they want to behave, they want to get into some country's territory. They are in the formula of expansionism. Do you think United Nations is able to do anything is about that? The most important, if you will conclude in the last 2 years, the role of United Nations, you will come at that this is becoming an irrelevant organization. The second very important thing which I want to bring you, the change in the geopolitics of the world in last 2 years, and why this is happening, and is it good for a mankind? First important thing is that the fight among the nation or a developed nation to prove their supremacy is the biggest danger to the mankind. Because in this race, what happens? They are trying to denounce each other. They are creating the groupism. They are also working to creating the weapons of mass destructions. And as a result, what happens? When you create a weapon, then you want to sell the weapon. And as a result, what happens? You want to create a situation of insecurity or a war, and the country which is neighboring or nearby, they of course who are in the threat, they will buy. This is what really is happening. But end of the day, if those weapons are being used, this is very, very bad for mankind. You must have seen, as one side we were already fighting from the pandemic, but another side we were facing the situation like a threat at border, maybe from Chinese intrusion. That's one side. You may have seen the war between Armenia and Azerbaijan. What for? End of the day, whole world, this was a time where whole world need to be united and need to fight against the pandemic. But on the other hand, again they were fighting for their supremacy, and that's what exactly, that's bad for humanity and bad for mankind. And this is the reason what happens, because you can see all developed countries, somewhere they are into the politics of creating a divisive situation, or they are into a situation where they are always want to show their power, or they want to keep underdeveloped country in the threats. And on the other hand, you will find somewhere they have supported the endeavor where certain countries are into a disturbing scenario. And this is what exactly, as a result, what happened, the country which can spend their income or a GDP into their education, their infrastructure, their health facility, but instead of that, they are spending the money into arms. Developing country like India, we are trying to overcome those challenges, and but still, like you just see, a major income goes to the for the defense and the defense equipment. Same challenges you will see with another country also, that is there. So what happens, like that really affect their growth. If you take the scenario of Afghanistan, if you see that, like who is causing that imbalance of power, or always a disturbing scenario, there is no peace in the nation, or the nation is being utilized by the external forces. As a result, you can see the last 30-40 years they are never been into the peace. And if you look into the development scenario, that's really is a very much questionable. So now you just see this, but this is a human tragedy, and it's a historical tragedy, and we all need to learn how long we will keep on becoming a feeder to the warmongers. This is a time where we need to think about the global peace, and that was the reason where the all country need to play a role. Otherwise, this hunger for a power, this hunger for a supremacy is very bad for a mankind. I also would like to take an example of the country like Nigeria. If you see the country may be the rich in resources, but maybe the internal fights that is there, which really dampening the image, and maybe some external politics, because the faction like a Boko Haram and all, that really give a bad name to a country. And if you say any investment, if you want to bring to a country, they will be scared. Their first question, they will talk about the safety. But same thing, if you will find that, like even in Africa, there are various other nations, or within the country, you will find there are several tribes which is very intelligent, very enterprising, but they are not getting the opportunity. I came across some people from the tribes of Biafra, that is one of the state, and they are fighting, and they have been one of the most enterprising and intelligent community of the world, and they are spread all over the world, and due to their business acumen they have really made the mark. But the question is that again they are under the banner of a country, or they are in the Nigeria, they are again fighting for their identity and existence. But what happens, they could have contributed to a great extent to the economy, and they are somewhere they are doing. But what happens, like that inner fractions somewhere created instability into the region. Same happening like the country like Pakistan also is facing the same kind of scenario. So what happens, like now this is the reason what happens somewhere, a global power need to think about, or the global politics should not revolve around the war. It should revolve around the peace and the development of the mankind. The most important thing is that as we are growing, as a world is growing in the terms of technology, I am seeing in the terms of war, but the same terms, the question we need to ask, are we growing in the terms of humanity? are we growing in the terms of peace? That is the most important question need to be asked to all developed nations. This should be the real agenda of the United Nations. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.